Okay, the topic that I'm going to discuss is about integration by substitution, but with the topic of trigonometric substitution. Now, you only have three patterns that you have to consider. Let's say you have a squared minus a squared, or a squared plus x squared, and the last pattern is x squared minus a squared, wherein a is constant. So if the pattern says that this is a squared minus x squared, you have to let the value of x as a sine of theta. Then if you have a pattern of a squared plus x squared, you must follow the value of x as a tangent of theta. Then the last pattern is x squared minus a squared. You will have to set the value of x as a secant of theta. Okay, let's say we are going to use this in a problem. You have the integral of dx all over x squared, square root of 4 minus x squared. If you will analyze the problem, you will have 4 minus x squared. 4 is constant. This can be a squared. Then this is your x squared. Then the sign between them is minus. So you have a squared minus x squared. If you look at the pattern, this falls under pattern number 1. You have a squared minus x squared. And in that pattern, you have to consider the value of x as a, wherein a in this problem is 2. So you will now have 2 sine of theta. Then you just have to differentiate this equation. You will now have dx equals 2. Then the derivative of your sine is cosine. So you will have cosine theta with respect to the theta. Then you will have to substitute this in the original equation. So you will now have dx is 2 cosine of theta d theta all over x squared, wherein x is 2 sine theta. So you will have 2 sine of theta squared. Then the square root of 4 minus x is 2 sine of theta squared. So simplifying the equation, you will now have 2 cosine of theta d theta all over 4 sine squared theta. Then the square root of 4 minus 4 sine squared theta. If you will look at the equation, since naka d theta, dapat you only have a variable of theta. Wala na dapat x sa equation. So you satisfy this equation. You will now have 2 cosine theta d theta all over 4 sine squared theta. Then the square root of, factoring out your 4, you will now have 1 minus sine squared theta. And take note that this is equivalent to cosine squared theta. Galing siya sa sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equal to 1. Therefore, 1 minus sine squared theta is cosine squared theta. So this will be 4 cosine squared theta. Then kapag in-extract mo siya dun sa square root, ang matitira na lang sa kanya ay 2 cosine theta. You will now have 2 cosine theta d theta all over 4 sine squared theta. Then this part is 2 cosine theta. So in the numerator, you have 2 cosine theta, and you also have 2 cosine theta in the denominator. Pwede mo na siyang i-cancel. Ang mangyayari ngayon sa kanya is simply d theta over 4 sine squared theta. Then take note that 1 over sine theta is equivalent to cosecant theta. So, pwede mo siyang gawin na 1/4 of 1 over sine is cosecant. So, you will now have cosecant squared theta d theta. Since constant to, pwede natin ilabas. So, ang mangyayari is 1/4 of the integral of the cosecant squared theta d theta, wherein cosecant squared theta is negative of cotangent. So, you will now have the integral part is negative 1/4 of the cotangent theta plus c. Supposedly, this is your final answer. Kaya lang, the equation is in terms of theta. Your original equation is in terms of x. So, kailangan i-transform mo itong equation mo in terms of x. So, by using your x, which is 2 sine of theta, you can now have sine of theta equivalent to x over 2. Then by using the triangle, right triangle, if this is your theta, sine of theta is equivalent to opposite over the hypotenuse. So you will now have the opposite side, which is the x, and the hypotenuse, which is 2. So you need cotangent theta, which is 1 over tangent. So you need tangent. So you have to find the tangent theta. Kaya lang, tangent theta is opposite over the adjacent. So you need to find the value of the adjacent side. So by using the Pythagorean theorem, you will now have the hypotenuse is equal to the adjacent squared plus the opposite side squared. So you can now have the hypotenuse is 2. To cancel out this square root, you have to square both sides. So you will now have the adjacent squared plus the opposite squared is x squared. So to take for the adjacent, you will now have 4 minus x squared. Then for the adjacent side, you will now have the square root of 4 minus x squared. So the tangent theta now is opposite side is x. Adjacent side is the square root of 4 minus x squared. You need cotangent. Cotangent theta is simply 1 over tangent theta. So you need cotangent theta. You will have 1 over x over the square root of 4 minus x squared, or simply the square root of 4 minus x squared over x. Now this is your cotangent. So for the final answer, you have negative 1/4 of the cotangent, which is the square root of 4 minus x squared over x plus c.